This has been another expensive week, but I also received a windfall that will more than make up for it. Ready to hear what happened? Let's go. Welcome back to Ready Budget Go. My name is Drew, and on this channel we talk about cash budgeting, saving money, and achieving our financial goals. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Today is my weekly cash update, or my weekly budget update, rather. So, my weeks for my budget run from Friday through Thursday because that's when it's most convenient for me. And so, this budget update covers the 14th through the 20th. And before I get into that, there's a couple announcements that I have. Announcement number one is I want to say thank you, I guess, really, for everyone for being patient with me while I got this move handled. It has been eventful. It has been stressful, but it's mostly behind me now. I am still getting settled. There are things that I'm still unpacking. In fact, one of the trackers that I wanted to use this week, I'm not going to start yet because I don't know where my stamp set is. So it's still in a box somewhere, and I will need to find that and unpack it. And hopefully, I'll have that ready for next week. But I'll get to that in a little bit. The other thing is that my Etsy shop has reopened. All of the products that were available before are available now, and there's even a couple of new ones coming. So I don't have that ready to announce today. There's only one other person who knows what this project is, and that person already has been informed. But for everybody else, the official launch will be on Monday, and that will be March 24th. So I'll do that in my game night video. So if you're interested in seeing what that is, come on back for game night and I'll explain everything. The only hint that I will give is that it's stickers. So mull on that over the weekend, come on back for game night, and I'll explain everything. So let's get the weekly update kicked off. The first thing that I'm going to do is a cash dump. So let me get set up for that, and I'll come right back and we'll do that. All right, so first up is the cash dump, and things have been kind of anemic so far this month, but I've got a good amount from this week. So we'll do the coins first. These I'm saving up for Christmas, essentially, and I'm just putting coins aside every week instead of putting them back into my budget. And I don't have a goal for this. I don't know how much it's going to end up being, or even a rough idea by the end of the year. It's just kind of whatever I can save, and I will put that toward more than likely Christmas presents. My intention is to go to Coinstar and redeem these for a gift card, probably Amazon, and then use them on like Prime Day or something like that. Um, so someone said in a previous video that Coinstar shorts you when you use their accounting service, and that may very well be true, but for me, I feel like it gets close enough at least to where I feel like, yeah, that's about the right amount. And it's worth it to me versus sitting here and counting and rolling them all myself. Now, when you use Coinstar and you get a gift certificate or a gift card, the merchant of that gift card will pay the counting fee. So you don't pay a counting fee, but you may lose, a few dollars depending on how much you're counting to just miscounting. But for me, I'm willing to pay that. I don't really care for hauling change around, so I tend to take it out of my wallet every day or out of my pocket every day and put it in here, and then at the end of the week into here. And I mean, I've got a good amount. I would say there's probably what $60 in here so far, and we're only in the middle of March or late March, so that should be enough for a couple people on my Christmas list by the time that Prime Day rolls around. So I'm going to set those aside, and then we'll do the cash. Now, the cash has been looking really sorry so far this month. I save all of my $1 bills and I put them in the Letterbox challenge at the end of the month, and so far I've got $4. But this week I had quite a bit. So I don't really know why I ended up with so many ones, but I did. I started the week with $140 and I have 60 left, so I spent $80. I counted as money spent when I get the ones back, but I've got, I don't know, probably close to 20 ones in here. So these are all going into the Letterbox challenge for the end of the month, or, I'll probably film that in early April and get it posted then. But at any rate, so the $60 goes into the pouch here. I just don't like carrying more than about $40 with me in cash. just because I don't know. I've always kind of been that way. I feel uncomfortable when I have large sums of money in my wallet, and for me, anything over $40 is a large sum. So I keep it mostly in here, and I take out 20 or 40 here and there as needed. So we'll set these aside, and then I will get the budget book out, and we'll come right back, and I'll tell you all about the spending for the week. Okay, so let me get the budget book open here, and we'll go to the monthly budget overview for March. And let me grab a board to put behind the page so that I can write on it. I'm left-handed, which makes things kind of tricky, but just do the best I can here. So I'm going to start with income, and I did get paycheck one, so that was as expected, $3,070. I did get a check that I was going to put in here, and then I thought, no, I'm just going to push it into April, even though I will deposit the check probably this weekend or next week. The check that I got was from my previous apartment, so I actually ended up getting a refund. They didn't charge me a cleaning fee when I moved out, so that was a nice surprise. And also, the utilities were significantly lower than I expected. So not only do I not owe them anything, but I actually got a little bit of money back. So that's why I say at the start of the video, I had a windfall that essentially makes up for the overspending. So once I got that check, I kind of took the foot off the brake a little bit, because I was trying to make sure that I wasn't going to go too far. I was already over budget for this month, and I knew that. But I also, if you watch my April budget planning video, I also knew that I wasn't going to pay rent in April because I'm on a promo, and I put a lot of that money into essentially a credit card payment to pay off everything that I'm charging in excess of what I'd already budgeted for. So I had also had lines in the budget for the previous apartment that now that money goes back into the budget. So it was an expensive week this week, and I've had every week I've been over my weekly allotment, and this week is no different. But I'm less nervous about that now than I would have been had I not gotten this news that I was getting a refund check. So, or actually getting the refund check. Okay, so again, not putting that in here. I'll put it into April, and I'll put it in as a negative where it was going to be a positive. So, Puget Sound Energy should have come out this week, and it didn't. I did get a revised bill from them that's due at the end of the month, so I will call them on Monday to figure out what that is. I meant to do it this week, but the week just got away from me. I did pay that, so that was 43, as expected. Affirm is my cell phone hardware payment. I do receive a reimbursement from my employer of $100 a month, and 43 of that goes toward repaying the loan that I took at 0% to finance the phone. Once this is paid off, and I may even pay it off early, but once it's paid off, I'm going right back in and financing a new phone. I'll be able to sell my existing phone for a significant amount because it's a higher end model and it's only a couple of years old. But I use my phone so extensively that the battery is starting to go, and yeah, may need a new phone soon. So, Visible, which is my phone plan, won't come out until next week. So that is good. All the rest of the bills are good, except I did have on the, let's see, what day was it? I don't think I wrote down the day, but it would have been around the 17th. Savings for the Blip Fund came out. I had intended, oops, that's got to be, I need the whiteout here. I had intended not to contribute to that this month. I was going to pause the payments or the transfers, but I forgot to do it. So they started coming out. The first one came out, and I thought, well, heck, I might as well let the second one come out too. And it did. So that happened, $205, but it's money to the Blip Fund. And I figure if I really need to pull that money back into the budget, that's what the Blip Fund is for. So in a sense, it's kind of a wash in that way. If I need to pull it in, I'll pull it in, no harm, no foul. If I don't, then I've at least increased my savings, and am right on track. So that's what happened with that. We'll come back to the wallet expenses in a minute. Nothing changed with stockpiles because that was already for the move. And then savings and extra debt. So from game night this last week on the 17th was $251. That went to my Roth IRA, and I already made that contribution, and that will show up later. So that's it for this page for now. We'll come back to it later once we do the expenses. Let's move on to, not the expense tracker, the cash flow tracker. So this is more or less like a check register that I use just to make sure that everything that's coming in and going out of my checking account is something that I know about and that the amount is correct. And I had quite a few transactions this week. So the first thing that happened is I got paycheck one. That was the exact amount was $3,071.63. Then went and sent money to the brokerage account for my Roth IRA, and that was $257. This was from the 10th, from that game night. I made a credit card payment for $50.19, and another credit card payment for $18.41. Then savings for the Blip Fund came out, $205. There was another credit card payment, and that was $167.17. No, 67 cents. 16767. Okay. Brokerage, Roth IRA, again. This was for game night this week, $251. A credit card payment, $31.41. And lastly, an enormous credit card payment for $2,000. And I'll tell you, with all the spending that I've been doing, this didn't even cover half the balance on this card. So the rest of that, it's all planned for in the April budget. But that was a big chunk of money just to chuck at a credit card. Now, this isn't debt. This is all money that I've spent within the last month. The move went on to this credit card. The deposit, or not the deposit, the what am I trying to say? The screening fee, I think, went onto this credit card. I mean, it's just been a whole bunch of use on this card, plus all the regular expenses that go on it. So made a big payment, and there will be another one coming in April once I get the second paycheck from March. So that's all of the transactions from here. So let's talk expenses, which is the next sheet in the book. Now I have concatenated these or combined these to shorten the number of lines that I have to use. In a normal month, I try to be very specific and very intentional and very complete in how I record transactions, meaning that I record every single time I swipe the card. This month, because there was so much card swiping going on because of the move, I just kind of combined things into different categories because there's not a lot of insight to be gained by saying I spent $130 in restaurants this week. Well, I knew that I did, and I know why I did. I mean, this isn't laziness. This is the fact that I didn't have a kitchen to cook in or food to cook with. So for those reasons, I've just kind of combined them just so I don't have to print out another sheet for the expense tracker. So this week, which was the 14th through the 20th, in DoorDash and restaurants, I spent a total of $77.73. In groceries and household, and I combined these because one of these was a Target run and it was about 50-50 household and groceries, or I can't remember. So that would be groceries and household. So food and household. That was $224.93. Now, the reason why this is high, and it was high last week too, I went to Target, I went to At Home, is because I have to purchase things for this apartment that I didn't have to purchase for the last apartment. Or that I didn't bring from the last apartment. So, for example, my last apartment had a half bath or a three-quarter bath. This apartment has a full bath. So I had to get a shower curtain liner, shower curtain rings, an anti-slip mat, all of the things that you need for a full bath that I didn't need in my previous apartment. I also had to buy new laundry detergent because I have a different kind of washing machine in this apartment. I had to replace things that I didn't move from my previous apartment, which was all of the frozen food, things like cooking oil, sauces, spices, almost everything I threw out and started over. Now, most of that was almost all depleted. I mean, I didn't just throw a bunch of good food in the trash. I had intentionally whittled it down over the last couple of months when I knew that I was going to move. So, at any rate, having to rebuy all of that stuff now, there's a lot of upfront costs that I don't expect to have in future months. Okay, also on the 14th, I booked an Amtrak ticket. This is travel. This is a one-way ticket for $22. A friend of mine is going to be in town. He and I are going to drive south together, together, or he's going to drive. I'm just going to be a passenger, and then we'll spend like the afternoon together, and then I'm going to take the train back home. So I booked that ticket, and then the only other thing that I have to record is the cash spending. Okay, and there's no category for that because it could have gone to anything, and that was $80. So we're going to add these up. Let me get out the calculator here. 77.73 plus 224.93 plus 22 plus 80 is $404.66. So before I leave this page, I'm just going to color code these if I can find a highlighter. They are in the wrong spot in my tower of pens over here. Is anybody else addicted to pens? I feel like I buy so many pens, so many more pens than I actually need. So let's see here. I'm going to need this one later for the Blip Fund, and we'll do this week in blue. Well, sort of a teal or something like that. Turquoise, maybe, I suppose. And I just color code these just so that I can see which week was which when I look at these in the future. No specific reason. Okay, $404.66. So let's go back to the budget. And actually, I'm curious. I'm going to add up all of these weeks and see where we are. 493, 92, and 360.59. So I'm at 1259.17 when I should have spent $750. So I'm $509 over. That's about what I had planned for the cost of the last water sewer garbage bill, plus the cleaning bill, plus any damage repairs that I needed to pay. And I got $65 or thereabouts back. So I'm in good shape for next month. So let's see here. Okay, so we've done that. So now let's talk about savings. But before I go over there, I'm going to break the video just so that it doesn't get too long, and I'll be right back and we'll update the savings trackers. Here we are in the savings section of my budget book. So the first one that I have in here is the emergency fund. And if you've been watching me recently, then you'll know that I fully funded this not too long ago. It was within the month of March. So this is done. I'm no longer saving for it, but I'm going to leave this in here for a while just because periodically I'm going to like looking at it. And I'm also going to keep tracking the interest that I've earned or that I will earn on my emergency fund. So I'm getting the next interest payment around the 1st of April. It's usually the first part of the month. And I'm really excited to see what it is and then track that month over month, because that will start to compound along with all of the money that's in there, just as the regular emergency fund. So the next section then is the blip fund. And this is the money that I set aside for when I have an unbudgeted spend that I need to just get a little bit of money for. It's not something where I've got to go to my emergency fund. It's not a long term emergency. It literally is a blip. So blip stands for break lock if prompted. And I've got the lock here that I'm filling in with the money that I save. This is available on my Etsy shop as a digital download if you're interested. But for today, let's just fill in one of these sections, because I am happy to say that with the deposit that was made on the 17th of $205, officially, the blip fund is halfway to its goal of $2,400. So each segment is $200. There are 12, so 12 times 200 is 24. 24 was the goal, and I worked backward to determine how much each section should be worth. So of course I also don't have a ruler, but I suppose I can use this as a straight edge just to make a, actually let's use the other side of the marker here, just to make a line. There we go. And then I'll use the chisel tip to fill it in. So, very pleased with how this is filling in. I should have it fully funded by, oops, and then I went right over the line anyway. That's okay. It'll get there eventually. So very excited to have this fully funded by, it's looking like, let's see, March, April, May, June. By the end of June, this should be fully funded. And it may even get funded before then, depending on how things go with the rest of my budget. I may decide to put more toward this, just because once this is done, then I'm fully focused on the Roth IRA. Once the Roth IRA is fully funded, then I'm going to focus on my next big move, which is a move out of state. I've been talking about it here and there on the channel for a while. Also, I'm going to be attending FinCon in October. It's down in Portland, so for me, it's very close. And I've already got my ticket to the event, so I'm excited for that. But it is something that I will need to save for. I will need to save for transportation, hotel, incidentals, all the things. So, October seems like a long way away. It isn't really, but I at least want to make sure that I get the blip fund fully funded, and that I'm on my way to fully funding my Roth before I start setting money aside for that and for other stockpiles or sinking funds. So the next thing that I want to talk about is my IRA. Now, this is last year's Sloth IRA Savings Challenge. This is also available on my Etsy shop. And it says 2025, but it was the same numbers for 2024, so I used it for both years. So this is what my fully funded 2024 Roth IRA looks like. I have the same sheet again for this year, but what I don't have is my stamp pad and my $ stamp. I mean, I have them, but I just don't know exactly where they are. So once I uncover them, I will start this for this year, because I want to use that to mark off my progress here. And hopefully this year I'm a little bit neater than I was last year. But at any rate, that is everything that I have for this week. Again, my Etsy shop is reopened. And so please take a look if you like the look of the worksheets that I've used, or these budgeting challenges, or savings trackers, or any of the savings challenge games that I use on game night. Those are all available on my Etsy shop. Again, product announcement coming up on Monday for game night on March 24th, not May, March 24th. So that will be forthcoming. And I just want to say thank you again for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, leave me a comment, share with your friends, and until I see you in the next one, take care.